Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into a jaw-dropping moment in American media, when one of the sharpest voices in comedy and commentary, Bill Maher, took on CNN, the media, and even the political landscape itself. If you thought the news cycle couldn't get any crazier, stick around because Maher just flipped the script in the most calm, calculated way possible. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. You've probably heard that Donald Trump has been a constant presence in the headlines, attacking critics, spinning conspiracy theories, and fueling division across the country. But what's often overlooked is how much the media and even comedians have been caught up in the frenzy. One prominent voice in the comedy world, Bill Maher, has long been known for his sharp wit and candid takes. A few years ago, Maher openly admitted on his show that he was genuinely afraid of what Trump's return to the White House could mean, not just for politics, but for free speech, for comedians, and for the very fabric of American democracy. He expressed concern that a Trump presidency might lead to crackdowns, censorship, or even worse, a climate where dissenting voices are silenced or punished. It was a moment of genuine worry from a seasoned observer who saw how the political landscape was shifting dangerously. But fast forward to today, and Maher's tone has shifted. The fear remains, but his approach has changed. He's no longer chasing every Trump rumor or conspiracy theory. Instead, he's taking a step back, observing the circus with a calm, unflinching honesty. He's calling out the absurdity, not out of anger, but with his trademark wit and straightforwardness. And that's what makes Maher's latest stance so compelling. He simply states, "It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid." It's a line that hits hard, cuts through the noise, and encapsulates his refusal to get caught up in the outrage machine. He's not here to play the game of hysteria or fear-mongering. He's here to call out what's real, what's foolish, and what's just political theater, no matter who's in the White House. And that's the essence of Maher, a guy who refuses to play the outrage game even when the media and political elites try to spin fear into ratings gold. The CNN encounter, the calm before the storm. Now here's where things get really interesting. And a little spicy. Maher was invited onto CNN, a network notorious for its hyperventilating coverage of politics, especially when it comes to Trump and Biden. Most expected Maher to go on the attack, to unleash a fiery tirade about media bias, or to call out the hysteria. But instead, Maher surprised everyone. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't shout or call CNN out directly in a dramatic fashion. No, he sat back, took a calm sip of his truth tea, and delivered a masterclass in composure and honesty. He called out the network's obsession with hysteria, how CNN, in their relentless pursuit of ratings, turns every Trump moment into a doomsday scenario. He pointed out something glaring. CNN's coverage isn't about journalism, it's about a desperate ratings grab masked as journalism. Every headline, every segment seems designed to stoke panic, and Maher wasn't afraid to call it out. He told them plainly that this approach isn't just unprofessional, it's manipulative. "You're more interested in ratings than the truth," Maher said, in a tone that was calm but razor-sharp. But Maher didn't stop there. He also challenged the prevailing narrative about Joe Biden, warning that the Democratic Party's over-reliance on the age issue could backfire spectacularly. He warned that if voters begin to question Biden's fitness, it could hurt the Democrats in the long run. And of course, he was right. That warning has aged like milk because, surprise, surprise, the very concerns Maher raised are now front and center. Biden's age and stamina have become hot-button issues, and the political and media establishment are scrambling to explain away their earlier dismissiveness. "I've been railing against ageism for years," Maher said, emphasizing his long-standing position. "Some people at 70 are like 40, and some are like 100. It's a case-by-case basis." What was most striking, though, was Maher's call-out of CNN's hypocrisy. They've been quick to push the narrative that Biden is perfectly fit to be president, even as Maher voiced concerns about his age. When Maher dared to speak honestly about the potential pitfalls, CNN silenced him, a textbook example of double standards. It's the classic media playbook. Promote a certain narrative to protect political interests, then silence dissent when it doesn't fit the story. Maher's calm honesty laid bare the media's obsession with maintaining a certain image at the expense of truth. Shift back to Trump, the question of fear. The conversation then pivoted back to Donald Trump. The host asked Maher a pointed question. "Do you fear what Trump might do if he gets back into the White House?" Maher took a moment, then responded with his characteristic honesty and measured tone. "It's possible," he said, acknowledging the potential risks. "Do I think he'll start arresting comedians? No, but anything's possible with this guy." That remark drew a few chuckles, but it also carried a serious undertone. Maher isn't naive about the unpredictable nature of Trump. While he doesn't believe Trump will target comedians specifically, he recognizes that a man with Trump's temperament and history could do anything, from overreach to destabilize institutions or worse. Reflections on free speech. Maher then reflected on his own relationship with free speech. He recalled a time when he didn't have to worry so much about censorship or repercussions. "When George Bush was president," Maher said, "I never worried about what I said. I was free to speak my mind. Now, things have changed." Maher admits he's more cautious, more aware of the political climate and the potential consequences of speaking openly. But despite that, he remains committed to his principles. "I still refuse to be silenced," he emphasized, showing that his core stance hasn't wavered. Would he quit comedy out of fear? The host then asked a provocative question. Would you quit comedy if Trump returned to power? Maher responded without hesitation, with his usual calm confidence. "If I ever stop, it won't be out of fear. It'll be because I've simply done my time." This statement underscores Maher's resilience and perspective. He's not a victim, nor does he see himself as someone who should bow to fear or intimidation. Instead, he views his career as a calling, something he'll continue as long as he can, on his own terms. The core message. What emerges from this exchange is a clear lesson. Maher isn't playing the victim. He's a seasoned veteran of comedy and political commentary who calls it like he sees it. His approach is rooted in honesty, resilience, and a refusal to be silenced by fear, whether it's from a potential Trump presidency or the pressures of the media landscape. He exemplifies the attitude that true freedom of speech isn't about avoiding controversy. It's about standing firm, speaking your truth and doing so with calm conviction, no matter the chaos around you. Maher's critique of wokeness and identity politics. But Maher's critique doesn't stop at Trump or the mainstream media. He's also been a vocal and often fierce critic of what he calls the left's obsession with wokeness and identity politics. He warns that this focus on cancel culture, virtue signaling, and ideological purity is having unintended consequences. Instead of uniting people, Maher argues, it's dividing them further. He believes this approach is alienating moderates, and independents, many of whom might otherwise lean left but are turned off by what they see as excessive political correctness and censorship. The left's focus on purity and outrage, Maher has said, is pushing moderates into the arms of the GOP. He emphasizes that this is a dangerous trend, as it weakens the broader liberal movement and hands more power to conservative voices. He draws a clear line in the sand. Liberalism should be about free speech, open debate, and individual liberty, he insists. These principles are the foundation of a healthy democracy, but he argues that the current climate of conformity and emotional outrage is undermining those core values. Historical reflection. From Lincoln to today. Maher often points out that liberals once admired leaders like Abraham Lincoln, who fought for a society where race and identity wouldn't determine one's rights or opportunities. Lincoln's vision was of a color-blind society where individuals are judged by their character, not their skin color. Today, Maher laments that some liberals are tearing down statues of historical figures, rewriting history, and engaging in actions that seem to contradict that original vision. He criticizes the movement to erase or question certain historical figures, seeing it as a form of cultural revisionism that risks erasing the complexities of history in the name of progress. The core of Maher's message, his overarching message, is that wokeness, as it's currently practiced, is not liberalism. Instead, he sees it as divisive and damaging. Maher argues that the true spirit of liberalism is rooted in tolerance, free speech, and a willingness to debate and challenge ideas, not silencing or shaming those with differing views. Maher on media, ratings, and the cost of sensationalism. In his closing remarks, Maher offers a sharp critique of the media landscape, particularly focusing on how ratings and sensationalism have taken precedence over truth and integrity. He notes that outrage sells, a simple but powerful truth that underpins much of modern cable news. Networks like CNN and MSNBC, in his view, often thrive on stoking anger and fear, especially when it comes to figures like Trump. They demonize Trump, Maher explains, because it boosts ratings, even if it means ignoring facts or alienating a large portion of the country. This approach, Maher argues, has led to a distorted public discourse, one where sensationalism often outweighs accuracy. Instead of providing nuanced analysis or fostering understanding, these outlets may prioritize provocative headlines or emotionally charged segments that drive viewers to tune in again and again. Championing honesty and integrity, Maher champions a different approach. He emphasizes the importance of honesty, integrity, and journalistic responsibility. I refuse to chase clicks or pander to outrage, he states firmly. For Maher, meaningful discourse depends on truth and a commitment to facts, not on sensational stories designed to provoke reactions. He believes that journalism should serve the public interest, not just the bottom line. Real truth, he says, is more powerful than sensationalism because it builds understanding, trust, and a healthier democracy, a reminder of America's founding principles. Maher concludes with a reminder that America's strength lies in its foundational principles, free speech and honest debate. These values, he argues, are crucial for a functioning democracy. They allow for disagreement, dialogue, and progress. He warns that fear-mongering and censorship threaten these core principles. When media outlets or political figures resort to silencing dissent or manipulating fears, they undermine the very fabric of American democracy. Final reflection. Maher's message is clear. The fight for truth and integrity in media is essential. He urges viewers and citizens alike to prioritize honesty over sensationalism, to value open debate over censorship, and to remember that a truly strong nation is built on transparency, respect for differing opinions, and a commitment to the truth. In essence, Maher advocates for a media landscape that informs and enlightens, not one that profits from outrage and division.